So what is your reaction to this year's election results for the Groton Town Council?
Well, we were expecting to win a few seats, but we're really surprised and truly humbled by the amazing support the town of Groton has given us.
What are your thoughts on the Board of Education results?
I think that it's not going to change the Board of Education anywhere near as much as the change in the council. So people will continue to see people who are very dedicated to our students. And in particular, I know that our candidates were interested in making sure that there's educational programs that would serve all the students of Groton. Sometimes there's a feeling that the services are skewed a little bit to certain groups of students. And of course, the Groton 2020 plan, they'll be implementing that as well.
How will tonight's results impact the RTM?
Well, for starters, we have a majority on the RTM, so the moderator will be a Democrat. But we're also really thrilled with the qualifications and the diversity of the candidates who were elected tonight. They truly represent, the citizens of Groton, and they worked really hard for this.
They worked really hard, and we were also very excited by the number of people that we had come forward who wanted to serve on the RTM. Some years it's been hard to find people. This year we had more people than we could run. So that was really thrilling and exciting, and they're just highly qualified people.
Was today's turnout at the polls what you expected, and how do you think it affected the outcome?
The turnout was clearly to our advantage. We worked really hard for this. We ran as a team, we developed a great platform, and we went out and talked to all the voters.
Yeah, so the turnout was very good, but we worked really hard to ensure that happened. So we're pleased that the voters responded.
How do you think the political climate at the national and state level affect today's results?
Well, for starters, we've had a lot of interest in new people who want to get involved. They see what's happening at the national level, and they don't want to see that happen here in Groton. And really, that's been a driving force on the number of new members that we have joining our organization and wanting to run for office. It's it's never been seen before in my lifetime. Don't know about yours.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know that we've ever seen this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we probably both agree that there was some effect, that we benefited from kind of the feeling that we think is happening in Groton and in Connecticut from voters who are not happy with what's happening at the national level.
Were there any particular issues that you think may have swayed voters to vote for a particular candidate or party?
Well, clearly, in a number of cases, it looks like people voted for individual candidates. But a few of the big issues that have come out as we're going door to door and as we're hearing from the candidates who want to run is education. They want to make sure that we have a quality education that benefits all of our students. People are very concerned about the environment and economic development, and they're just concerned about the direction the town has been taking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think our candidates made it clear that they support those issues of education and the environment in particular.
What are some of the biggest issues facing the town of Groton and the town council over the next 2 years, and what will be some of the priorities of the newly elected official?
We're going to approach this with very thoughtful decision-making, and we intend on treating all corners of the town with a lot of respect. We'd like to heal some of the divisions and the I guess you call them bad feelings that have been generated over time, not necessarily from the previous council, but just they've been building up over time. And we have, of course, as mentioned, the education environment and quality services are really what seems to concern most of the candidates.
And with economic development, we've talked a little about just smarter kind of economic development, smart growth.
What are some of the biggest issues facing the Groton Board of Education?
The two biggest are going to be implementing the 2020 plan and then assuring or addressing student performance, which some might say has been lagging. But then we also need to assure the quality of education for all of our students. It's not just any particular segment.
Is there anything else you want to tell the Groton residents?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're honored, we're truly honored, humbled, and we want to hear from you. We are your elected representatives. We're not in this for any other reason than to serve you.
Great. Thank you very much, guys.
What is your reaction to this year's election results for the Groton Town Council?
Well, not an exaggeration to say that we're very disappointed.
Okay. What are your thoughts of the Board of Education results?
Oh, likewise. I mean, it was really across the board. It was a flip of what happened a couple of years ago when we were on top.
How will tonight's results impact the RTM?
Well, the RTM historically has gone back and forth between the two parties with minority representation. The party on the out, so to speak, enjoys at least 1/3 of the seating. The interesting factor, though, is that 4 of the town council candidates that have won tonight have also won RTM seats. They obviously can't take both, and so those will be vacancies that the Democratic Party is going to have to fill itself.
Okay, was today's turnout at the polls what you expected, and how do you think it affected the outcome?
I'm not privy to the numbers as of yet, the turnout numbers as of yet. Our impression was that the turnout was about what was to be expected for a town election. The only exception would be, say, I believe districts 2 and 3. It felt to some people as though turnout was higher in those districts. I'm not sure whether that's the case or not, but that can sometimes make a difference on the margins and enough to win the race.
How do you think the political climate at the national and state level affected today's results?
Oh, well, that's always a fun topic. I actually haven't been paying attention to the national politics, at least not since the election in November 2016. I can't say, and I think it's a great parlor game to try to say, well, there's a national climate that has something to do with locally. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I'm not knowledgeable enough to be able to speculate.
Okay. Were there any particular issues that you think may have swayed voters to vote for a particular candidate or party?
Well, there was a sweep. And so you saw even perennial great vote getters like Harry Watson, for example, first loss in a long time. That tells you that something beyond the candidates themselves. Again, all due credit to the winners tonight, but it tells you something that there's something going on beyond simply the individual candidates. It was about the slates, it was about organization, effort, etc.
Okay. What are some of the biggest issues facing the town of Groton and the town council over the next 2 years, and what will be some of the priorities of the newly elected officials?
Well, through the efforts of Heather Summers at Hartford, we've been able to claw back some of the cuts. I think just about all the cuts that were proposed originally, the ones that we prepared for and that were embedded in our budget. But that's good for only so long. This council really ought to be preparing for the can that was kicked down the road in Hartford and be prepared for round 2 of what we were preparing for this year, and ultimately didn't have to suffer, but we'll be back here again.
Okay, what are some of the biggest issues facing the Groton Board of Education?
Well, I suppose the big thing is Groton 2020, and no matter how anybody feels about it, it passed the referendum in November 2016. I can't remember the margin, but it won. And so I hear that we'll be getting our grant, or should be getting our grant from the state. We'll see how that works. I always say, I'll believe it when I see the money. But that should still be on the schedule. I know there's been talk about putting that off. One of the folks on the other side of one called it, it's a shiny new thing we don't need right now. But the fact is, I think the voters approved it, and if you put it off, you're not going to get that. You might as well you're not even shelving the project. You're simply saying like it never happened. So Groton 2020 is going to go forward. That's going to be a big deal for the Board of Ed. And then the usual ongoing educational issues that always seem to be in flux.
Okay, is there anything else you want to tell the Groton residents about, the last 2 years or, tonight's outcome?
Sure. Well, I'd like, first of all, to thank all the voters who supported us. Always a great effort. It doesn't really take much to win, one way or the other. And the fact that we were swept out doesn't necessarily mean that we're not thankful for the support that we've gotten. The new council's coming in. They are essentially fresh. There was one incumbent. I think there's another one who's held office. They have a certain level of experience here and there. But it's a brand new council. There's a brand new town manager. I'd like to see what's going to happen, with the combination. I hope all the best for Groton. I wish the new council well. And again, thank you to the voters for paying attention to the issues, for questioning us, keeping us attentive, and thanks for the support.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean. Really appreciate your time.